Happy Wednesday, UnWoke Nation. I'd like to welcome you to episode 192 of The UnWoke Show, where free speech is welcome, all subjects are on the table, and your boys Rich and Tim bring you the latest and greatest for your entertainment, baby. I'm your host, Rich, and along with my co-host here. How you doing, Tim?
Oh, great, Rich. UnWoke Nation, guys. Glad to be speaking with you this evening. You know where to find us by now. You can also reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Keep that feedback coming, guys. We're getting all sorts of great ideas. In fact, tonight's episode was taken right from your recommendations. So tonight's topic is who gets to define women's sports.
Oh man, aren't we kind of going back to like season 1? It was like episode 3.
Yeah.
We talked about like,
So-
what's man?
Transgender topics in women's sports is nothing new here for the UnWoke Show. But this particular episode is taking it from a completely different viewpoint, if you will. Women's sports are having an identity crisis. And this time the argument isn't simply Republicans versus Democrats.
Right.
Okay. It's happening among women themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Gaines says biological sex should determine who competes in women's sports. WNBA player Sophie Cunningham has become another prominent voice, arguing that female competition needs to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, Rich. Your favorite.
Oh, do I need to sit down?
Megan Rapinoe strongly disagrees and has criticized both Gaines and Cunningham while continuing to advocate for transgender inclusion.
What?
I told you to hold down, or to hold on. Other women inside professional basketball have said they would welcome a transgender woman onto their team.
Wow.
And then what I like to affectionately refer to as the OG of transgender sports.
Mm-hmm.
There's Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay.
Jenner is transgender. We all know Bruce Jenner is an Olympic gold medalist.
Yep.
And Jenner has been quoted as saying transgender women should not compete against biological women.
Do you think with him being a male athlete, he'd have a little bit of a standpoint to understand why that probably is not a good idea?
So, in these discussions, let's talk about that lineup for a minute.
Okay.
You have women. You have gay women.
Mm-hmm.
You have straight women.
Yes.
You have transgender women.
Mm-hmm.
You have Olympians.
Right.
You have professional athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Just all in one pool right here.
What do they have in common? Glad you asked. What they have in common is they're all reaching radically different conclusions about something that sounds like it should be incredibly simple.
You would think.
What exactly is women's sports?
And that has definitely been the talk, man, for the last year and a half. And also, in fact, no, actually, Tim, let's go back a couple of years ago, because really, we did an episode once, and also that was happening on the Olympics. It actually happened two situations, the same one. First one was the boxer that I think was from Tunisia.
Uh-huh.
The second one was the Olympic weightlifter that was a guy who competed in the women's sports for New Zealand.
Yep.
And we dealt with that situation, which...
It's safe to say in every season of the UnWoke Show, and guys, we absolutely recommend you tune in. Go check out season 1, season 2, season 3. In some capacity, we have touched on this subject.
Yes.
Okay. But I don't think we've touched on it as it is transpiring in front of our eyes on a weekly basis.
I would agree.
Okay. So tonight, we're not going to pretend this is an easy question, which it's not. We're going to look at what these athletes are actually saying, what the evidence says about biological differences and athletic competition, and why people who all claim to support women can reach completely different conclusions about what fairness actually means.
Mm-hmm.
Because under the transgender debate is a much bigger question. Who gets to define women's sports?
Yep.
So, here's where it's going to get a lot more complicated. You and I could take the route of we could turn this into a left versus right argument.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to do that.
And why is that, Tim?
Because politics is just that. It's just politics.
I agree.
Okay. But there are various individuals who feel they don't fit neatly into any of the boxes that we have mentioned. Megan Rapinoe believes transgender inclusion belongs within women's sports.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's the.
All right, let's go back a little bit. Now, for those of us who are sports fans globally or even locally,
The Women's World Cup.
yeah, we have that. That's true. So, but we're going to go into a specific situation that had to do where not only did it happen once, it happened twice.
Yes.
First, let's go on to the national under 20 or under 17, under 15, whatever it was, U.S. national team, boys national team, that played the national champions, the three-time World Cup champion U.S. women's soccer team. Now, if I understand where, so from the end of it, outside of maybe I think them scoring, as in the U.S. women's team scoring at least once, those 14-year-old kids dropped them off like a bad habit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now let's go to a more recent situation. As everybody hears about the new show, well, it's not a new show now. It's been on for about 3 or 4 seasons and all, but about Wrexham.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they decided to put together a game where they were playing the U.S. team like that. And these are guys who, former players of Wrexham, who, for some of them look like, they probably haven't kicked the ball in a very long time. And still found a way to beat them, Timmy.
Yeah.
So, let's go to imagine, and I don't want to take away now because Tim's got a really good one, or especially for you guys, an international story that's just recently come up where so they kind of flips this thing on its head. So when it comes to basketball. But it's just interesting to see how we have now 2 situations.
Yes.
Where it's been shown that these men, and in the first case, these being boys, obviously had some type of, would you say, Tim, maybe a physical advantage over what would be considered to be top tier athletes in women's sports?
Yeah, there's Riley Gaines obviously being famous for going up against the Pennsylvania swimmer, and I'm drawing a blank on that name right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll have to find it. I'll put it in the show notes for you. But what I wanted to play was
be blunt about it.
Megan Rapinoe's unhinged rant accusing Sophie Cunningham and Riley Gaines of pushing nonsense because they're trying to protect women's sports.
I want to address the controversy that is happening right now around trans women in sports. As you know, I've talked about this a lot and will continue to keep talking about this. I don't know Sophie, so I can only project what I see about her beliefs based on her actions. And seeing a picture of her with Riley Gaines after the game told me everything I need to know about what's happening. Riley Gaines has made it her life's mission to exclude trans people from public life. She's directly tied to the Heritage Foundation, the authors of Project 2025 and now 2026. who have now published a report that suggests that they want to repeal Title IX, the very piece of legislation that allowed athletes like Sophie and myself to compete in sports. Sophie has claimed both to love trans people and support Title IX. And this is where I think the accountability with having a major platform is extremely important. You can hear it even in the language being used that the root of trans exclusion is to protect young girls from men. To be clear, I would love to have that conversation, and it's much needed in this country. But it frames the conversation as if we're protecting young girls from men being in WNBA locker rooms. Not happening. It villainizes trans girls as if they're somehow magically older than their peers or are men, when in reality, they are also young girls. These laws are excluding kids from playing youth sports. If we want to have a conversation around elite sports, there are effective policies that have been in place for many years that no one noticed because they worked. So if anybody is taking these talking points as legit or believing they're protecting young girls in sports, I just have to ask, are you serious?
So, Tim, would you like me to carve this up like a Thanksgiving turkey? Rich rent incoming.
So, yes, I know you're ready to go unhinged. The swimmer I was thinking about was Leah Thompson from Pennsylvania. But now that I remember that, Rich, please continue.
Now, UnWoke Nation aware, so there is several things that's actually wrong with what this lady just got done saying. All right?
And this lady by Megan Rapinoe.
Right.
Okay.
So, if you recall what she just said, where she happened to mention about Title IX, which said that it protects the exact people such as herself and also Sophie Cunningham for being able to play sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are for Title IX protecting women's sports, and we know how Title IX actually works, why are you promoting against it? You see, that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, we realize where so that we should have women, biological women, should be able to have the same type of equipment and stuff like that. Where so, I mean, off a side note, where so a couple years ago, the NCAA tournament was supposed to be putting together what they like to call a fitness area, and all they did was have like some yoga mats and weights that went up to like 10 pounds. So even I thought, as somebody who likes to work out like you do,
well, yeah,
like that, I found it to be very, very insulting. I mean, it's just like, guys, don't treat them like that. That's not right.
Right.
But the point being is that because of Title IX, stuff like that shouldn't even happen. Okay. So now we got her, so they're saying, Title IX should be also, I'm sorry, where was Title IX with Leah Thompson? Oh, by the way, Tim, do you realize where the 2 years ago was the 50th anniversary of Title IX?
Yes.
When Leah Thompson was still competing.
Yes.
Okay? So we had that going on, all right? Number two, she's sitting up there, she's saying that Riley Gaines is going out there and she's out there trying to basically eliminate people from social life, from sports life, and like that. Let's go to number two, all right?
So what Megan was saying is, in her opinion, because remember, it's her opinion.
Correct.
She was saying that Riley Gaines was doing everything she could to exclude transgender people from public life as it relates to sports.
No, that is bullcrap, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
You see, they've been breaking their necks where to sit there and have these people saying like, oh, the transgender stuff like that. But here's the thing. So they're saying whereas we got, men's sports and women's sports like that. At no point, if you call yourself as someone who's going to be, quote, inclusive, this is what you're talking about, Ms. Rapinoe.
Yes.
Why is it that at no point, for those of you guys that are supposed to be all about gender equality and all this other bullcrap, that you have not created a transgender division? None of them will talk about that. But you're supposed to be for, them being included in society. Isn't that what you said, Timmy?
Included, yeah, she stretches.
And specifically in sports.
Yeah,
Yes.
she stretches her argument to public,
more like Gumby, but
well, public life, right? I mean, that's
that's emotional bullshit.
yeah.
It is. It's emotional crap. And that's, these are the things where that you guys, when you start hearing people like these libtards out here who are saying this type of bull crap, it's like, you need to ask them this question. And here's another thing too, because I don't know how much is happening in maybe other countries where we get to be broadcasting in, and also, which has been great. And also, thank you guys. We're in over 100 countries now. But it boggles my mind how we have so many boys that are sit there and say, hey, I'm a transgender girl, so like that. And not only are they winning their events, they are annihilating these events.
Yes.
They are setting up records that won't be touched by a biological woman in their lifetime for 100 years.
Yes.
Okay? And that's something I just don't understand. So now we get like Miss Rapinoe, and other athletes that are coming up saying like, oh, well, we're okay. It's like with all that happened. It's like, that makes no darn sense. You either are for women's sports, you're for the 12-year-old little girl who loves to run track, but she's got Tommy, who now calls himself Brittany,
right?
And who led the boys track team,
right?
And stuff. So, and now all of a sudden he's competing, and her, who was probably the school's 200-meter track star, now is about to get annihilated by probably 3 seconds that no girl can ever meet.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Oh, I can't. That would be like Usain Bolt saying he's transgender and being in women's track and field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, if that was to happen, no one would even know who Sha'Carri Richardson is.
Exactly. So, as I was pulling this together, something hit me that isn't discussed, one, in any of our previous episodes that we've talked about, but I don't think it's even discussed within women's sports. Okay. What do Megan Rapinoe, Caitlyn Jenner have in common?
They're all gay.
Okay. Yeah. So what does Sophia Cunningham and Riley Gaines have in common?
They're all straight.
Thank you.
Bring it home to me.
Okay.
Go ahead. Tell that truth.
But is it safe to say that, or not safe, in the WNBA right now, you have straight versus lesbian sprinkled in with transgender, but yet you're women.
Yeah. Timmy, that was pretty spot on.
Okay.
I mean, it's such a social crap storm in that league right now. Wow. It's almost not even funny how ridiculous it is.
And I think this is probably, it just reinforced my point that some of the most visible women supporting transgender inclusion are gay, while several prominent women arguing for sex-based competition are straight. So, Rich, I'm going to ask you this. Does that mean sexual orientation determines someone's position?
Sexual orientation. Well, the way I look at it is like I was listening to a show once, and it talked about how, he called it where, so there's a thing that's called the sisterhood, so to speak, in the WNBA. And I think like you said, when it comes to sexual orientation, it seems like it plays a massive role in that league. Massive. If that answers your question, yeah.
I completely agree with you. And you visibly see it on the court.
Yeah.
And this is just the transgender debate. We could lump in the racial debate as well.
Yep, because we just recently had a situation with that, which I'm sure you will be bringing up.
So I think, does sexual orientation determine someone's position? Maybe, no. But it's reasonable to ask whether different experiences, political identities, and understandings of the broader LGBT movement influence how people approach this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe the real dividing line isn't gay versus straight at all. Maybe it's philosophical. Is women's sports fundamentally a category based on biological sex? Or is it a category based on gender identity? So I'm going to answer yes to question 1. I'm going to say no to question 2 because in all of the WNBA's charter and documentation, the WNBA does not define what a woman is.
Wow. Now, you would think with a league that's been around for almost 30 years, in the beginning of the whole thing back in the early mid-90s, I think it was, 93, 94, you figured they would have said, hey, maybe we should actually truly define what this is and who can have in our league. But you know what I think it makes us kind of different, Tim? Is that I think at that point, the craziness that we have in society today probably was not thought of even being capable.
So thank you. I was going to make the point that we didn't have to worry. Let me take that back.
Okay.
When I say we, in this instance, I'm saying the league didn't have to worry about this, right? Because what was the league back then trying to do?
Just get recognized.
Well, exactly. Establish relevancy. And now with Caitlyn Clark and bringing awareness and a sense of relevance to the WNBA and changes to the league, now it's a completely different ballgame.
Right.
But let's take this lunacy one step further. We've had 2 male former NBA players state they may declare for the 2027 WNBA draft.
Wow.
And it's mind-boggling to think that that would actually happen. And so we're going to play something.
Consideration and review with the current eligibility guidelines. I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
So that was former player
Enes Kanter played for Boston and also Houston, so he spent a good amount of time, and also a couple other things, also dealing with his previous country. His country in Turkey, I think it was. And but no, he just recently, about 2 days ago, released this video declaring that he's going to be in the WNBA draft. Now, Tim and I were just talking about this pre-show, and we basically came down with two different things of how this is going to pretty much bite the WNBA in their ass.
Yes.
Number one, because as Tim has just previously stated, where that there is no specifics of exactly who can actually participate in as a WNBA member or player, Mr. Cantor's got every right to be able to say, hey, I can actually join this. Because you see, here's the thing. If they realize where so they're going to look stupid, you just can't pop up with this saying like, hey, because what happens with that? Destroys their entire narrative.
Yes, it does.
Okay? So that's one. Now, number two, don't think for the next 10 months, they're going to have to try to figure out what they're going to do with this, because he's declaring, and in fact, what we did not mention on Woke Nation, where there's actually another former NBA player who has also declared, I can't think of his name right now, but he also declared as well. I think it was like a day after Enes Kanter did.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing where that's going to be the second backlash is, let's say Kanter and this other guy gets drafted, okay? Now remember the situation we just discussed where with soccer. These guys are going to go in there and start dropping off like 40 points. Yeah, but Rich, they're 40-something years old. Does it matter?
Have you watched
Exactly.
the play?
Exactly. I mean, think about that. So I watched, and I think we mentioned this once before, I watched this past All-Star game that happened, I think, in July, early July. I decided I was going to give it a little bit of time. Like, you know what? I heard the year before it was there in Indiana that, everybody was kind of, let's see what that's. So I figured, okay, it's in Chicago. Let me just give it a shot. Tim, I sat there and I literally watched for about 3 to maybe 6 minutes. Tim, I saw 7 bricks. 7.
Yes.
Now, these are supposed to be the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Okay? And I sat there for 4 to 6 minutes watching more bricks in a construction site.
If you've watched Angela Reese play,
Jeez, oh my God.
you get where Rich is going with this. There are moments where you see crisp passing and even good shots.
Right.
You see hustle.
Mm-hmm.
You see muggings.
Mm-hmm.
You see assaults.
Yes. Quite common in the WNBA now.
Yes.
Ask Caitlyn Clark.
Yes, exactly. And for the most part, it's Brick City.
It is.
And it's really, really sad to see that. So where does this leave us in this debate? Well, women's sports were created because society recognized that male and female bodies are different enough athletically that separate competition provides women a fair opportunity
Yes.
to compete.
Yes. They should have a fair opportunity to compete. Absolutely.
Today, we're being asked whether biological sex should remain the defining boundary of that category. Some athletes say absolutely. Others believe gender identity should also determine who belongs. And Caitlyn Jenner demonstrates that even being transgender doesn't automatically tell us which side of the argument someone will take.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the biggest mistake we've made, assuming we already know everyone's position based on their identity. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
The real disagreement is over fairness, inclusion, biology, and what women's sports are ultimately designed to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And until we settle that question, every new athlete, every new controversy, and every new policy is going to bring us right back here.
Mm.
So we're going to leave you with a question we've been working toward all episode. Who gets to define women's sports? The athletes? The leagues? The government? Gender identity? biological sex, or something we haven't figured out. That's the conversation, and it's nowhere close to being over.
That is very true.
UnWoke Nation, we're going to leave it right there for you. We'd love to get your feedback on this story. You can reach us at feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Again, that is feedback@unwoketheshow.com. Rich, a pleasure as always. And remember, guys, stay unwoke.
See you next time.